What it do, snackers and snackettes? This is your boy Gage. You are listening to the Snacking and Hanging podcast. This is episode 56.
Mm.
The Loading Snacks crew is for sure in the building. Here with me, Sin, speak to the people.
What's cracking? Let's get to it, whatever it is.
No doubt. And new Joker, Show Up King.
Yo, what it do?
It don't do nothing just yet, but it's going to.
Mm.
Little bit of excitement this week. We got it's Switch release week,
It
Horizon
is.
Zero Dawn week,
Yeah.
Zelda
Yep.
release week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some serious goings on this week. However, we ain't gonna talk about none of that. Like, I mean maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Here's what I want to do. I would actually like to talk about our time with Ghost Recon Wildlands. So,
I think that's a good topic, considering that we just had the beta, and we know that comes out literally next Tuesday. So,
right.
yeah, it's
So-
a big release.
We had Jokes and I were able to get into the closed beta. We tried to get sent in. It wasn't working.
Nah,
But the
hopefully that'll
But the
change at
open
some point
beta-
this year. Yeah, but I was, finally-
work it out.
yeah, I got a taste of this open beta, so I'm
Yeah.
a little happy about that.
So, even though Jokes didn't play with us, Jokes and I played, Sin and I played.
Mhm.
We ran in a 3-man squad. You and I and
And,
D-Mac
shout
jumped in
out,
with
shout
us.
out to D-Mac. Yeah, he jumped in with us.
Jokes and I ran with a couple people when we were in the closed beta. So I just want to talk a little bit about our impressions, where we are, what we think, and how we feel. I'm gonna let you start, Sin, since this is your first impression of it. I'm gonna
Oh, I
let you
feel so
start. Tell
special.
me what you think. Well, I mean, you are special.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Now listen, I'm gonna take a moment. Normally I wouldn't interrupt. Normally I wouldn't interrupt what we saying to say something like this.
Uh-oh.
But I want you to know that my daughter just walked in the room, and she's doing a very good job of not interrupting the podcast. It's wonderful. However, it's hilarious because she walked in the room ducking.
What?
Now we're not shooting video. And she was just about to duck walking out of the room till I said that.
Why was she ducking?
Cause she just didn't. I don't know. Yeah, I guess she's used to us being here shooting video or something. You know what I mean, or something for the YouTube.
Oh.
So she walked in the room ducking, and I was getting ready to laugh, and I didn't want to laugh randomly while you were telling your Ghost Recon story.
No, that's good. I'll say
You know.
that to when I see her next time. That's good.
Because you wouldn't have known what I was laughing at. I would have had to explain it anyway. So
No, but that was a good. That
please,
was a
by
good
all
response.
means,
Thank you.
sir, tell your Ghost Recon Wildlands impressions, my good man.
Cool. All right, Ghost Recon. First thing out the gate, I have been a big Ghost Recon fan since probably the inception of the franchise. Me and B have always run on them. Like we are a co-op squad. We get it in. We have great times. All that kind of stuff. We love the openness and distance of Ghost Recon. This one is very, very interesting. You can jack cars a la Grand Theft Auto from people. Like
Sure.
it's a real open world. Instead of just big maps that you get to play on, it's a real open world format with things
Yeah.
to find and things to look for. Like it's a different approach to Ghost Recon, but it's an approach that I feel that works because Ghost Recon was always open. I just think kind of letting that open world bubble and kind of cultivate over the years. It's a good change of pace to do something new with Ghost Recon, kind of like how they did a little bit with Rainbow Six Siege. You know what I mean? Its counterpart. I like the new direction. It does still. I do still find those classic Ghost Recon moments, like just those things that remind me this is still a Ghost Recon game and don't take me out of the fact that I'm playing. Like you had a great way of describing it, like it's a fusion of Just Cause, Ghost Recon, and like Mercenaries. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's
And a
things,
little Metal Gear Solid
yeah,
mixed in there too.
yeah. Like there's ways that like the
5.
control
Metal Gear
screen,
5.
I'm sorry, not the screen, but the control, like you can, like you're walking, you crouch, you go to prone. That's always been something that's been there in Ghost Recon. You know what I mean? Like how you
Yeah.
outfit your weapons and change out the parts. Like that's a Ghost Recon thing. Like there's stuff that always bring me back to remember that. Yeah, it's a little different. It's open. You can get in cars and you're picking up, stuff on the map and all that. But it reminds you that this is still Ghost Recon. Like I think this is gonna make for some great videos we're gonna find on the internet from a lot of different people
Mm-hmm.
with their adventures and so on and so on. The map is absolutely massive, which I do like, which means to me like a lot to be explored and to get into and things to look forward to. Uh, I like that. I mean, they gave us a lot of place to run, to run through the beta. But I
Yeah, I mean, we didn't
I like it.
overdo it.
No, we didn't overdo. We only had like one. We had one strong night to really, play it. But I was happy with what I played. One thing I did not like was the cover system. That was annoying the bejesus out of me while we were playing. Like
What do you mean?
it has that Tomb Raider cover system where you get close to it and then you're in cover. But I never felt like I was sticking to the cover. You know what I mean? Like when I
Yeah.
got close to it, I still felt loose on it. Yes, it's a beta. They can do things to fix that, but and then like I didn't feel like I was sticking to it. And then when I try to face left or right on the cover I was on, I didn't feel like it was working as well as it should. But that was my only gripes
Okay.
with it so far. Everything else,
Okay.
I was having fun with. I was enjoying. I'm looking forward to getting it when it comes out Tuesday.
Dig it.
Mm-hmm.
Dig it. Dig it. Yeah, I mean, look, jokes, I think I can speak for both of us when we say we certainly had a great time playing it.
Absolutely.
I think what I would like to get across to people is that first and foremost, if you are a fan of Ghost Recon, don't let what you think you've seen in I don't know, like in pictures, I guess. I feel like the trailers that they've shown, and now I realize I feel like why they were doing them. To me, it kind of felt strange the way that they were doing like kind of the walkthroughs of like this is how you can infiltrate this place and this is how you can do it at night or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I heard a lot of people. I was just in a conversation on Xbox Live, one night with a bunch of people, and everybody was kind of playing something different. We were just talking, and um, some of the guys in there were downloading the open beta because they also were not in the closed beta, but a lot of them were really skeptical, and they were like, "Well, I like Ghost Recon, but this seems like the Division, and the Division disappointed me." And while I liked the Division, this is giving people, I think, because of like it's weird. The Ghost Recon has been a 4-player game for quite some time. Like the last one was a 4-player co-op
Mm-hmm.
game. You could play in co-op. The Division is a new thing, but Ghost Recon hasn't been open world, and I think what people are seeing of it, it is definitely reminding them of the Division, but it
I agree.
plays nothing like the Division. Like it's not. It is. This is not a role playing game. Yes, there are skill trees. Yes, you can. You can add skills and things like that, and you can change out your gear, but your gear doesn't actually have an effect on you. Like, it doesn't give you stats or points or change in, any of the way that you operate. It's just visual. It's cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I kind of want to make sure that people understand like this is not like the Division. Like this is a game
No.
where if you shoot someone in the head, like headshots count as headshots. You know
You're
what I
gonna
mean? And
die.
guys are not taking more than like 3 or 4 hits before they go down. So it's not the same thing, and there is certainly some strategy to the best ways to play a
Absolutely.
Division,
Absolutely.
but it's not military tactical strategy. It
Yeah,
is
you know what?
um
I
the
agree.
Division is strategy and role playing. Like, okay, I have a joint that does this kind of DPS. You have these kind of grenades. You go to this side. I'm gonna go to this side, and you're really just kind of working out the best. You know what I mean? The best way to do it, but it's not the same as the way that the logistics of Ghost Recon. What were you saying?
Well, I think one reason the way people are just feeling like, oh, that's just like Division. It's both open world, both third person, both Ubisoft, both kind of military, type of thing. But you're absolutely right. Like gameplay wise and mechanics and the things in there, like that was a great point you just put on. Like all the missions were kind of straightforward. You go into this room, you shoot a bunch of people, or you go into this area, you shoot a bunch of people. Let's make sure we got the right skills lined up to piggyback off each other and make the best out of the situation. Where Ghost Recon is literally more of approach the situation how it's an open map. There's no walls really, like stuff like that. Just approach the situation however you want. Outfit yourself out with the weapons and everything. Is not necessarily based on your skills. Yes, you can improve your skills to make them better, stuff you can currently do, but it's all tactical. It's all tactical how you approach all situations. Yeah,
absolutely. What about you, Jokes? What do you think? What are your impressions?
So far, I mean, I enjoyed it. I think for me, like, I think it's more enjoyable definitely when you play it with somebody. Now, granted, you can go through play it solo, but just like we were talking, like just an example, the headshot thing. If me and you were camping out, scoping out the area, we had two people lined up, like we had to have that coordination, so we took them out at the same time, and I really like that. I like that. Originally, this was something we didn't like, but I think it kind of changed on me a little bit. Where when you auto locked on someone, we thought it was going to automatically set us up where we hit the button and it was just going to automatically take out whoever we were aiming for. But now that you manually have to shoot yourself, I think that really makes it where you got to have that communication when you're playing with friends. The overall gameplay to me was pretty smooth. I don't think we ran into really any major iffy spots or anything like that. I mean, even though it was the beta, and I'm really looking forward to the fact that the world just looks like it's just some ridiculous size. Like when we didn't even realize that map, and when we looked at the map and it zoomed out to like all those different tree branches with the different like the heads of the different syndicates and all that type of stuff, that really makes me feel like we're going to be playing this game for a good while. And that's something I really like, because I don't want to pick this up, play it for like another couple of hours and it just becomes something I just throw back on the shelf.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that there's something to be said for the idea. Like Ubisoft seems to kind of have hit their stride in terms of being able to find a way to put a game out and monetize it and make it last for a long time. Like if you look at the curve on Rainbow Six, when Rainbow Six came out, we were on it immediately, but it didn't hit with the majority of the public right away. But it ended up being a huge game, and people play it like crazy now. So they've managed to sustain that, and I don't feel like this is necessarily going to be any different. Like it very easily seems like the kind of game they could they could consistently put out more content for and add new things, even if it is just visual stuff, or if it's new weapons. We got caught up playing Advanced Warfighter in like the finding new weapon parts and changing out the weapon parts and being able to do certain things with your weapons that you couldn't before, and kind of like finding that weapon you really love and making it your baby. Like when Sin and I started playing, we made like, okay, let's go in. Let me let you get your bearings because you haven't had a chance to play yet. It's been a couple of weeks since I played. I'm not used to it. I haven't been able, let's get our bearings. And then once we did that, it was like, hey, I know a place where we can go where you can get a sniper rifle because I know that's what you want. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we went and we got him a sniper rifle, but it wasn't one that was unlocked where he could change things. Then we talked to somebody that told us where weapons were on, where certain weapons were on the map. Well, guess we got to go there. And he knew for me, I want that shotgun. So once those weapons popped up, he was like, well, let's go get the shotgun for you, and then we'll go get the sniper rifle for me. That kind of stuff is going to hold me. You know what I mean? Like, there's a new trigger that does whatever it does. And there's, you know what I mean? And being able to, again, not just jump in cars, but snatch a helicopter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just go like, and the fact that as a 4-player co-op open world game, we don't have to be together. You can be
It's
off
full
somewhere
freedom.
doing something.
Yeah.
I can be off somewhere doing something. It doesn't necessarily matter. So let's just say, I've been playing by myself or I've been playing with someone else and I have already gotten a particular weapon. If you feel like you don't need help, but you want to go grab that weapon and you jump in my game, but I'm in the middle of doing something or whatever it is, there's nothing stopping you from going and grabbing that thing you want to get and then we can meet up. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Right.
Because the other thing I really love about it is you can fast travel to each other instantly. Like it's instant.
Okay. I didn't do that, but okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, look, I just wanted to kind of jump out and get some ideas and some early impressions. Again, we will be back with full impressions once we have our hands on the full game. This is a beta. I will also say that the open beta graphically looked better and played better
Cool.
than the closed beta. So they made some very quick, improvements to the graphics. Like there were some issues in the closed beta with, some timing on the speech with the cutscenes and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, I also noticed more banter between the individual characters that wasn't there before. So there was a moment where in the beginning of the game, just one of the people that's on your team when you're playing by yourself just starts going like, "Hey, did you see the such and such game?" And he's like, "Yo, don't say anything. Do not spoil this for me." You know what I mean? They're like, "You haven't seen it?" He's like, "Yo, I've been trapped in such and such. The download speeds are ridiculous. I've been trying to download this thing for 2 weeks." You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so no, I haven't seen it. Do not spoil it. And then the other two people begin to have a conversation about the game, like pretending that they're giving up the scores or giving whatever. And he's just like, "You guys are pricks." You know what I mean? Like, and that's, that was kind of cool. Like that stuff didn't exist, but I feel like stuff like that certainly helps. It makes me feel like there's a strange kind of a character development that's there that doesn't necessarily have to be there because you can play in co-op with,
Right.
with your friends. But even as Sin and I were playing, there was banter that was happening that had some of that kind of dialogue even between us, like between our characters that was coming from in-game dialogue, which I felt was kind of cool because it was different, but they were reacting and speaking to things that we were doing that had to do with the story. So it says to me that even if I jump in and I'm playing with someone else, as we go and we do story missions or we go through, like we're still gonna get feedback that comes from those characters, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
One thing I will add, as far as my overall impression, but it's when it comes to between the Division and Ghost Recon, people say like there's similarities. The Division, I would actually play by myself. Like I would get in with some random people and play. Ghost Recon, I can tell you right now, I will never play that by myself. I will only play that with my friends. Like to go around
Yeah.
and hunting after, hey, it's a weapon part over here. It's that over here. It's like I wouldn't like it's just the vibe of them feels so different. Like this is something that I would literally just play with like y'all and all my friends on Xbox Live. Unlike the Division where I just go to a matchmaking joint, knock out this mission and be done. You know what I mean?
yeah, I dig that too. I mean, I still think the Division was better when you play with people, and I certainly think this
Mm-hmm.
is going to be better when you play with people. What I will say is that probably my only major gripe at this point is that I didn't like that if you're playing by yourself, you're in a squad of 4 and you have control over the
I
other
remember
3
this.
and
I
can
remember this.
kind of
Yeah.
tell them where to go and
Mm-hmm.
what you need.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment someone jumps into your game or you're in a game with one other person, it's just you and that one other person. And so now you don't have 3 other people,
You're
you
down to
only have
two.
one other
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um
That's
which I suppose is okay. You know what I mean? Like it's not fine. It doesn't break the game.
and technically it
Um,
could change when the actual game comes out.
it could. But it was just I don't know. It just kind of felt disappointing. Like, wait a minute, where'd my other 2 people go? And
Right.
part of the reason for that is because, as a prime example, when I started playing the open beta, I was playing by myself, allowing myself to get reacclimated, to the beginning. And because basically even though I had played through a lot of the clothes, I was starting from scratch. So there was some stuff that I kind of just like wanted to do to kind of,
Right.
And so I was in the middle of doing a mission. Like I was just about to attack a camp, and Sin jumped in my game. And all of a sudden, I was by myself. And he wasn't with me. He was on the map, but he was somewhere else. So I'm literally, I didn't even realize that he had jumped in the game. Like there was an alert that popped up, but I wasn't paying attention to that because I was game planning how we were getting ready to take down, you know what I mean? And I was just about to like, okay, let's do a sync shot and get this guy. And next thing I know, my team is missing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, you come to me, and then let's not do this because you're not acclimated. You just jumped in, haven't had a chance to play at all. So we probably don't need to attack this base right now. Let's go do some other things to let you get used to it. But that kind of, it kind of messed me up. So you got to consider something like that where, if you're the kind of person who likes to play where you don't mind your friends just jumping into your game randomly, and I know a lot of people who play that way. Just leave it open so your friends can jump in, even if you don't like to leave it open so anybody can jump in.
Right.
You got to keep in mind that if you're in the middle of doing a mission or attacking something and someone jumps in, all of a sudden you don't have any help.
Short. Yeah.
Imagine for a second.
Problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine for a second. Like I had times when I was playing in the closed beta where I was playing by myself. I'm with my squad and I got killed. Like I went down a couple times. And so I'm actually waiting for one of my teammates to come revive me. Imagine that happened and I was down waiting for somebody to come revive me. Somebody just jumps in the game. You know what I mean? Like, my team's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean? So, that would upset me. I want to say that. But other than that, man, I enjoyed it. I really dig it. So
I did too. I'm actually really, really looking forward to next weekend, after that Tuesday release, so we can like really get it in and really, really absorb it all in. You know what I mean? So
oh gosh, the amount of stuff before Tuesday still though.
Me too.
Yeah. That's what it is. But I'm excited. I can't wait.
For sure. All right, so listen. I think we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back and have a quick discussion about a couple other things, and then we're gonna wrap the show up. So why don't we do that? Sound good? We'll take a break.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's do that. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Loading Snacks podcast known as Snacking and Hanging, episode 56. So, gentlemen, just so happens that today, now normally we record on Sunday nights.
Very true.
It's Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Everything happens for a reason. Let's put it like this.
There's some truth to that. Yeah. So there was some news that came out today. Phil Spencer posted, introduced something called Xbox Game Pass, which grants unlimited access to more than 100 games. So to kind of give you some context on what exactly this is, basically it is a pay service. So for $9.99 a month, there will basically be, I don't know if it's going to be 100, and they will basically rotate games in and out each month. And any of the games that are available during that month, you can play at no additional charge because you have a Game Pass.
Right.
$9.99 a month. Now, this is not supposed to roll out until spring of 2017. So it's coming out in spring this year.
But I think we did read that gold members are going to get access to it early. Was that correct?
Right. So
okay.
gold. If you are an Xbox Live Gold member, you will get access to it early.
Okay.
It is going to be across Xbox One and Windows 10, and it is going to be games that are available on Xbox 360 as well as Xbox One. All of the games will be playable on Xbox One. Now, the immediate comparison for this, obviously, is PlayStation Now, which we just discussed like last week, that PlayStation, that Sony had announced that they were removing PlayStation Now as a service from basically everything except for PC and PlayStation 4, which essentially puts them on even footing as far as this is concerned now. Like if PlayStation Now had PS4 and PC, but still had TVs and, you know what I mean, all the other kind of stuff you could access it on, it certainly has a trump card. Now, the other major difference between this is that this is not a streaming service. Whatever games are available to you during that month, you can download directly to your Xbox One and play them off of your Xbox One, which means you don't have to worry about trying to stream them or what your internet connection is like or whether or not you have a bandwidth issue or if you have, Comcast or whoever you have, and if they throttle your bandwidth after a certain period of time or something like that. I mean, obviously, if you're downloading large games, that could have an effect on it. Still,
right.
The ability to have it be downloaded to your system and play it directly off your system as opposed to streaming it certainly makes a difference. Obviously, there's still some questions in the air. This was just announced today. But from the information that we got, and for $9.99, this sounds like a pretty good deal. And before I go into asking what you guys think of this, and what kind of move you think it is and all that kind of stuff, I do want to say that I am an Xbox Preview member, and for some Preview members, the early version of this rolled out today for testing, and I have it. I'm looking at it in front of me right now. So, currently, there are about 21 games that are available. There appears to be more Xbox 360 games than Xbox One games, and the Xbox One games that I see, a good portion of them are kind of like smaller indie games. I will give you the quick rundown of what is available for me right now. Mind you, most of these games are actually games I do own.
Probably own.
Already.
Okay, got you.
But alphabetically, A Kingdom for Kelflings, Banjo-Kazooie, Comic Jumper, Dark Void, Defense Grid 2, Gears of War Judgment, Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Halo Spartan Assault, Hexic 2, Jetpack Refueled, Cameo, Max the Curse of the Brotherhood, Monday Night Combat, Missplosion Man, Operation Flashpoint Dragon Rising, Perfect Dark Zero, Sacred 3, Sam and Max Beyond Time and Space, Sunset Overdrive, The Maw, and Viva Pinata. So, of those, Sunset, Max and the Curse of Brotherhood, Gears of War Ultimate, Halo Spartan Assault, Defense Grid are all technically Xbox One games, even though,
right,
like Gears of War Ultimate is the remake, is the Xbox One remake of the first Gears of War. Halo Spartan Assault was basically an indie game, and that was available on iPads and stuff like that before they brought it over to, the One. Max and the Curse of Brotherhood was like an indie game that was like one of the first games available on Xbox One. Sunset Overdrive, obviously a big release for them, so that's cool. Now the other thing I'm going to say is that currently, as I'm enrolled in this, every single title in this roster, even ones that I have never purchased, all say owned. Now, the ones that are installed say installed, but everything says owned, whether it's something I ever purchased or not.
Okay.
So, I never bought The Maw. Played it. My brother had it. It was made by the same folks that made Missplosion Man. It was that was their first game.
Right.
Then they made Explosion Man, then Missplosion Man or whatever. But I never owned it. I certainly don't own Sam and Max Beyond Time. Not really
right.
my thing. But I own Sacred 3. It's installed already. I own Viva Pinata. I have owned it. I never downloaded it and put, you know what I mean? Like, I never bought it again. I never bought it digitally. Like, I owned the original disc.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, all of these games, Monday Night Combat, never bought Monday Night Combat. Man, Sin, you and Chris Lightning tried to get me to buy that game so bad, so many times.
We was on Monday Night Combat. I kind of sniggered when that one came up. That was one of our joints.
Yeah, I was just like, not doing it. Dark Void, I think I owned at one point on a disc, but I never, again, I never owned a digital version of it. So it looks like if you're in the program, or at least as far as the testing, this is an alpha. Like, what I'm in right now is an alpha. It looks like
so we still got a ways to go before it drops.
Own it.
Okay.
And I guess that's so. Like, I guess if you were in the store, I don't know if they're gonna set up a separate store. Like, if you have, you know what I mean, so you can see. I would imagine that whether you're a member or not, they would have a separate section in the store that shows what's available that month. You know what I mean? For $9.99 to play. It does say that every game that comes to this program, you will be able to purchase, and you will be able to purchase at a discount
because you're paying for the service. So that makes sense.
Because you have a game pass.
Right.
So, and it also says that the like, if it has downloadable content or something like that, like, you'll have access to buy that if you want to buy that kind of stuff. So let's say, games that they have listed in the announcement are games like Halo 5 Guardians in the spring and Payday 2, NBA 2K16, Soul Calibur. So, like, Payday 2 has a lot of additional content.
Now,
you know what I mean?
Here's an interesting question. Is the paid content reduced rate?
I don't know.
Or just the game?
Probably.
It's just one of those questions to ask. You know what I mean?
You also got to figure, though, a lot of these games are older games. At least what they're talking about right now, they're older games. So it's possible that additional content is at a lower price anyway.
Very
you know
true.
what I mean?
Just asking.
But basically what it says, I'm just going to read this paragraph. It says, one of the best things about Xbox Game Pass is that you can discover and download the full titles directly on your Xbox One. That means continuous full fidelity gameplay without having to worry about streaming, bandwidth, or connectivity issues. In addition, all Xbox One games in the catalog and related add-ons will be available to purchase at an exclusive discount for Xbox Game Pass members, so you can make the games you love part of your permanent library to play whenever you want. Every month, new games will cycle into the subscription, with some cycling out, giving you a constantly updating library of games. You got to consider that titles you really like won't always be there, but if you like it, you can purchase it. It looks like at a discount, but it looks like it's only the Xbox One games, at least currently, that will have access. You'll have access to purchase the add-ons. But it does say the Xbox One games and the related add-ons will be available to purchase at an exclusive discount for Game Pass members. So it looks like the add-ons will be discounted,
as
well as the games, but only specifically Xbox One games. So don't necessarily look for Xbox 360 games to get that same treatment.
Just the current generation. That's cool. That's cool.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, with something like this, it may not be something that they take brand new titles, you know what I mean, and put into there right away. Obviously,
older titles,
down the road, if there was something you never got to get your hands on,
exactly,
like that, then,
and you end up messing with it. Like, I want to buy this. How much is the DLC for when I'm messing with the game? You're already paying for the service. You're getting it for a little bit reduced rate. That's cool.
Yeah. So I heard you say, Jokes, at one point, like when we were discussing this kind of off air, that you were like, you wondered if this was something that they were, that they're doing kind of on the heels of this PlayStation announcement, or something they were waiting for E3 to do and just kind of jumped on it when PlayStation announced this. I don't think so, because, again, they're saying this is going to come out in spring, and that would be before E3. I mean, now was a good time to jump in an announcement, and if they were ready to go, maybe they weren't quite ready to go, which is why this is kind of in an alpha state, you know what I mean, as opposed to a beta state or something like that.
Right.
Or the titles that they have are are the titles that they have. But, I will say, I'm just kind of looking at it, and most of what's in here are titles that are exclusive to Microsoft, or are Microsoft's game studio games, with the exception of some things, like obviously the Mall. Well, that I don't know if the Mall was ever on PlayStation 3. To be honest, I'm pretty sure Sam and Max was. Dark Void is a Capcom game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, oh no, that's right. The folks who did the Mall also did Comic Jumper as well as Explosion Man and Explosion Man.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but Operation Flashpoint is Codemasters. And they did announce, like, it says that they have games from top publishers, like in the announcement. It says 2K, 505 Games, Bandai Namco, Deep Silver, Sega, SNK. So I mean, there are a lot of folks that it looks like they've been doing some work, and they have some folks that are on board with this. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of interesting. I also know that Phil Spencer was in Japan this week, like working on some stuff. So I don't know if maybe he was kind of solidifying some of these things too.
Hmm.
To try to get some licensing things squared away. Who knows? Like THQ is one of the companies that they say is in this, but like THQ doesn't exist anymore, so I don't know
And
who
I was
has
about to
those
say,
rights or
yeah,
how they worked that out. But I guess they had to go to whoever did have the rights to it. So it's interesting. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about this play?
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it seems like I think Microsoft may do a little bit of a better job at this than what Sony did. Because I mean, with Sony, I think where they may have fallen short a little bit with that PlayStation Now, I think they overpromised and underdelivered on theirs a little bit. And
Hmm.
I think with Microsoft trying to at least going through and testing this out with, at least the little 21, like say you got the access to 21 games. And I mean, by all means, they are not bad games to begin with, just with the ones that you've named off from that list.
Yeah.
And the potential of what can be added into it. And I mean, for $10 a month, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If you're someone that maybe you don't buy new games every week, every month or something like that, and you pay $10 and you just open yourself up to having games that you have never played before
Mm.
and the full access to them, that's an absolute gold mine right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also important to note that they have said that this is going to roll out in the spring to Xbox Live Gold members,
Mm-hmm.
but that it will be available to everybody at some point down the line. So even if you're not paying to be a member of Xbox Live Gold, you will be able to have access to this at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that's cool. I do want to point something out real quick. So as I was saying, like, it'll show that I own these games, but the ones that I have that I have actually purchased at some point, in the past or whatever, and I have them installed, it says they're installed. So with Dark Void, for instance, I just want to kind of jump in and see how it is. When I click on it, it basically takes me to a page for Dark Void, and the options that I have are to either install it or buy a copy. So it says you can play this game for now or buy it to own forever. And
Okay.
keep this in mind. And the reason why I'm saying keep this in mind is because Microsoft has been trying to kind of bang home this idea of, we are establishing ourselves as a platform. We recognize that you bought games with us and that when you got an Xbox One, you couldn't carry those games over. We are doing what we can to rectify that for you now, right? By having games be backwards compatible and kind of adding things to the list.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't own the disc, if you never had the game, or if you don't have it anymore, you can buy a copy of it digitally, whatever, it's still yours. They're getting ready to announce a new system. They happen to mention Scorpio coming out this holiday, in this press release. And the idea of buy it and own it forever is one of those things that kind of is like, this is the thing that's trying to make you feel good about, even if I don't get a Scorpio, even if I wait until whatever the next system is, everything that I purchase now, I will still have access to, I will still be able to use. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of a big deal. But yeah, it basically does give you an option to buy a copy, or just install it. So I'm gonna install it and just see, whatever. But Sin, what do you think?
I actually like this program over the PlayStation Now one. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I like the fact of having access to all these games, but with PlayStation Now, just like Nintendo, I'm refusing to pay for old games. Like, I understand the nostalgia with them, like, but when I
You mean in terms of just renting them, or you like what do you mean you refuse to pay for old
well,
games?
I guess with me personally, I have access to all the old stuff I want to play, like still in my basement, where I can go hook up an old system and play it, or I can go
Right.
online. I know how to emulate games and play them if I feel
Well,
nostalgic.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so for me, that the older it gets, the less that matters to me. Uh,
I understand
and
that.
with PlayStation Now, it was, oh yeah, you can play a PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games, not really 4. But with this one, you're playing
Right.
this generation and last generation.
Well, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So with this one, I'm more inclined to when it comes out and it's fully up and running, I'm willing to give it like a 3 to 6 month try to see what games rotate in and out of it. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because granted, like things have changed. We've grown over years. We got families and mortgages. Can't afford every single game. We miss stuff that comes out. So at least this way, I can catch up on past Xbox One games I haven't played,
Yeah.
and even past 360 games that I was looking forward to that I never got a chance to have. I don't have. I
Right.
don't
I
feel like I'm
mean,
going back
see
further
me in
than
this
that.
Monday Night Combat tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like so
I
with
wasn't getting it any other way.
yeah. So with that, I like the idea of this a little bit more. Like
Better.
it
Yeah.
appeals to me more, and that's why. So I'm looking forward. And I'm gonna give it a chance when it comes out. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a chance. I will with this one.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly would like to see. I mean, there are about 300 or so games. There's a little over 300 games that are available backwards, from the backwards compatibility catalog. But there have been a lot of games released so far on the Xbox One. And I have to imagine that, you're going to see probably a pretty solid mix, you know what I mean, of what's available and what's not. And I think some of the trick to this will be, you know, whether or not I am slightly concerned about how this might have an effect on Xbox Live games with gold and whether or not they
Mm.
will continue to give you free games. Um you know what I mean? Like because they have a program like this that does allow you to have access to games for, over a month. And this also makes me wonder if this is how Nintendo's, because remember Nintendo with the Switch coming out this week was saying, look, down the road when you're paying for our service, we're also going to rotate out, old original Nintendo games and SNES games that you'll be able to play for that month, but then they're gone. You know what I mean? At the end of that month or
Right.
whatever. And I have to imagine in some way, shape, or form, they're going to let you buy them. You know what I mean? Maybe at a discount or whatever. I don't know. But it does make me wonder about that a little bit because a lot of the games that are at least where that I'm looking at now, there are games in here that have been games that I only had because they were free with gold at some point.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And so it does make me wonder about that program a little bit and what's going to happen with that program. I don't think that program should go away. But I do think that there's a possibility that if they see enough success with this, especially if you're a gold member and you're a pass member, if that gets you some sort of, I don't know, a double discount. You know what I mean?
Uh
Like
huh.
if you're a pass member and you get a discount when you buy these games, that's cool. But if you're a gold member and a pass member,
Hey.
do you get some, you know what I mean?
Right.
Do
You
you
get
do
something
you
on
see
top of
something
that. Yeah.
extra?
Yeah. I feel you.
Right, you know what I mean? Or what other benefits? Or will there be games that will be available to you that maybe aren't available to people? Or will it just be,
Interesting.
hey, you still get access to these free games, so no, we're not giving you, an additional
Right.
discount or something like that. Like obviously there are still some
Right.
things that remain to be seen and worked out or
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely. I think it's gonna be interesting to follow and keep an eye on. Like I'm looking, yeah.
Yeah.
We're coming in E3. I'm pretty sure a lot of information will come out between now, then, and even then, once we've gotten to E3, like to answer all these questions. So
Yeah, I mean again, for something
okay,
that's supposed to roll out in spring, you know what I mean? I would imagine that E3 would probably be the place where they would want to roll out, like, here's where it's going to be available to everyone. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Or
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
Right.
Um,
It'll be available September
there's
1st.
also,
Yay.
I don't know if you guys can see this. I have another update on my system because I was just going in to see how far along the download was. When you go into games and apps now, You know, it gives you a list: your games, your apps, your ready to install,
Yeah.
your updates, and then your queue.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, in between ready to install and updates, there's memberships. And I show 3. It has the Xbox Game Pass Alpha Preview at the top and shows me next to that 3 of the games: Sunset Overdrive, Gears of War, Max and the Curse of the Brotherhood. Underneath of that, Xbox Live Gold, and it shows me the free games. It shows me Cars, Project Cars, Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time, and Star Wars The Force Unleashed. And then under that, I also have an EA Access membership, which was the next thing I was going to bring up. You know, I pay $30 a year or whatever for EA Access, and that gives me access to games that are Xbox One games.
Right.
You know what I mean? That they put into that catalog. It gives me access to play them early. It gives me a 10% discount when I purchase those games digitally.
Actually, I've decided to pull the trigger finally on that this year.
It's worth it.
I like put like
yes,
this.
It is.
I'm going to do it for my birthday and ask someone for a birthday present.
All right. I mean that's easy enough to do.
I
mean, listen. If you want me to get it for your birthday, just holler at me Friday. I'll hook it up now. You ain't gotta wait till June. Like, we could just do that. It's really not that deep. You know what I mean? Like, we can do that.
I feel you. And I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Nah, I mean, but I'll be honest with you. I really think that is one of the best values for an Xbox
I agree.
Gold member.
It is, and I think we talked about it on a podcast or 2 ago. And
yeah,
I think recently, like, it really, really like clicked and hit for me when I heard y'all talking about, like, yeah, I can really take advantage with that right now in my life. You know what I mean? Like, that's that.
Yeah,
now I'm thinking about that. Really is a good deal that I need to take advantage of.
You have a tendency. This is not a knock, but you have a tendency a lot of times to wait for a game to drop anyway, just because there's so much to play. It's kind of like I can't play it all now anyway. So I might as well just wait until the price drops. I'll get it later when I'm actually going to have time to get it.
Yes.
So under that circumstance, like if you paid $30 for the full year, and now you've got access to Mirror's Edge Catalyst, UFC 2, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, or if you know for a fact, I want to get, Plants vs. Zombie 2. Let's say they announced that this year.
Right, the third one.
At E3 or they do a third one. If you're gonna get it anyway, you get a discount. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
you're gonna get a 10% discount when you buy it. You know what I mean? So I looked at it this way when I first did it. It was kind of like, with a 10% discount, if you buy 6 games, then you've more than paid for what for what it costs for the for the price. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's awesome. And along those same lines, I certainly was considering, both of my oldest 2 children at 18 and 16 have their own Xbox Ones.
Ow.
And the idea of paying $10 a month for each one of them to have a pass like this, where I got one that's getting ready to go away to college, one that will be going away to college next year, and then when I get a Scorpio, my youngest is going to get my old Xbox, right?
Right.
Seriously though,
right.
Think about that. I mean, it's $30 a month if I do it for all of them. I don't necessarily need to do it for all of them, but even if I had to do it for the 2 that are going to be away at college or whatever, for $10 a month for them to have access to all 100 plus games, you know what I mean, at any given time, and then a discount on whatever they want to buy. don't take my money, don't take all my money. Whatever they want to buy. I was already considering doing EA Access for both of them, just because I think it's a really good deal, and it gives them games to play and stuff like that when they just need to let me get a few minutes away from the books, away from whatever, just kind of, dive into something or whatever, and then get back out. So
I agree 100%. That is a great deal for like that situation you just explained. Like that's great. I think that works wholeheartedly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely kind of digging that. I will even take it one step further, just from a business standpoint, right? Like we've talked about, we want to get in and stream and do stuff like that or whatever. We have a Loading Snacks, like Xbox Live account, right?
Yeah.
But for $10 a month, to be able to say, okay, there's 100 games we can access, any of us can jump on it and play and stream any of those games. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to like, all right, well, let's try to buy an extra, let's buy an extra copy or whatever. Just even from a business standpoint, like that's kind of a brilliant thing. You know what I mean? To have access to all that kind of stuff, to be able to do something like that. It's, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. Like, I think I think it's a really smart idea. I think there's a couple of shots they're taking at Sony by saying,
Just a few.
yeah, it's not a streaming service. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead and download them and play them. I am interested in seeing how they are going to handle the licensing. As far as like, if you downloaded it, once that game goes out of rotation, or if you're no longer paying for the service, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
what it'll show with those games. But I will say this. They have been testing this recently. Like, now that I see it, they did a couple weeks ago, they did like a free weekend for NBA 2K17.
Yeah,
You can just download the game and you can play all weekend.
They have been doing that for a while now. Yeah.
Just this past weekend, they did it with what's the car soccer game? I can't think of it right now.
Rocket League. They did it with Rocket League.
Rocket League. They did it with Rocket League. You know what I mean? And Rocket League was being sold at a discounted price as well during that time period. So obviously, if you download it and you play it, they have a way to lock you back out of it when, you know what I mean?
Of course.
So I would assume you're going to have to be connected to the internet to play these games. Like, I'm sure there's some sort of a timer that's on them. You know what I mean? Like, you downloaded it on this date, or it became active on this date. It's inactive starting on this date. So even if you download it and you're not playing online, you won't have access to this game anymore, or whatever it is. Like, they figured that out. Nonetheless, I think that the idea of this, as opposed to trying to stream, makes a lot of sense. I think it's just really smart to say, all right, now we have all this stuff. We have this full catalog, and it's across PC as well. I think that's the thing I find the most interesting. Now, I don't know how that's going to work. Does that only mean if it's a game that is a Xbox Play Anywhere game, you can do that? You know what I mean? I'm not sure. I don't know exactly how that will work, but it does say, across Xbox One and Windows 10. So,
obviously, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of information still to come out to figure this out. But I think a great announcement for a random Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, a great announcement.
Yeah.
I mean, only time will tell.
I think there are certainly people. I don't know. I also feel like $9.99 is not something people will just be like, nope. But I do wonder whether or not there might be a discounted version of this if you pay, say, for the full year, or if you do 6 months, or you know what I mean, or something like that.
Right.
Like, I do wonder whether
just
or
pay
not,
up front for it.
Yeah, that will be a choice. Now, the other thing that I'll say is, kind of in digging through what's going on with the alpha right now, once I downloaded it and clicked on it, when I go into my actual memberships, like to manage my memberships from my settings, it says that, even though I haven't paid anything for it, it says that it's set to renew on April 28th. So 2 months from now. So that's spring.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's going right into May. So maybe we're looking at this rolling out to everyone in around, like, right at the end of April, beginning of May. Is what I'm thinking, based on that. Because clearly they plan on testing it for at least that long. You know what I mean? So if they've given me access to it and I haven't paid them anything yet. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to go by what I see listed on, like, if you look at the article, the titles that are listed in there, like in the picture that they have, there's Halo 5 Guardians, Saints Row 4 Reelected, Mad Max, NBA 2K16, Lego Batman, the Mega Man Collection, Terraria, Payday, Gears Ultimate, Fable 2, Tekken 7. I mean, it's looking like a pretty solid list of, and again, obviously these things are going to rotate in and out. But I also think it's a great way for them to get titles in front of people. We've been complaining about, here's the thing, before this happened, part of what I wanted to talk about today were, what are the things that make you decide to finally buy a game? You know what I mean? Is it the trailer? Is it beta? You know what I mean? And kind of wanted to get into the fact that we just really are still missing, like, they just don't really do demos, like, not real demos anymore of games. And obviously you're paying for this, so it's not necessarily a free demo, but it's technically the full game. So, like, if something was going to make you buy the whole thing, you know what I mean? Like, if you had a full month to play any one game, but you could try 100 of them, you know what I mean? You're bound to find something you like, and probably something that you want to hold on to. And not knowing what's going to rotate out or rotate in, and there's a discount, it's probably going to be the thing that's like, I do kind of like this. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. You know what I mean? It also remains to be seen. Look, if you're doing something like this, and let's say, kind of like what we just talked about, if your friends own a game that you never picked up, you know what I mean? And now this is an opportunity for you to maybe catch up with something like The Division. Okay, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to play. I'm going to try it out. You know what I mean? See if I like it. I do like it. I'm having a good time playing with my friends. They still play it. I never got it. Yep, you know what I mean? I'm on board. I'm going to buy it. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So I do think, I don't know. I think this is a home run. If it works out well and people actually jump on and pay for it, I think it's a home run. I will tell you, I'm probably going to do it. Even if I don't do it for me, there are at least 2 people in the household that are probably going to end up with this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think it's a good deal, gentlemen.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it at least a solid 3 months trying it out. See what comes in, see what rotates out, stuff like that. Not saying that if I don't like what I see at first, I won't come back later, like as they have time to update and figure things out. But I mean, give it a solid 3 months and see what it is.
Even let's say you don't like it in the first 3 months, but let's say month number 6, I assume you'll have the ability to go in and see what games are available, whether you're a member or not. Mm-hmm. You just won't be able to play them.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty sure that should definitely be an option.
But let's just say that one game pops up. You know what I mean? Or those 2 games pop up during a particular rotation. And it's like, yo, such and such available, $10. I'll go ahead and do it, and I'll play this joint all month. You know what I mean? True. Or something like that. And then I'm done. Like, I don't have to renew it. You know what I mean? At the end of the month.
Yeah, I can just play that. I can just play that joint and beat that.
Yeah. Right. I might just jump in and play it right now. Or I really don't have time. I'm working right now. I haven't had a chance to catch up on stuff, but I'm getting ready to take a vacation. You know what I mean? I'm going to have time to sit in front of the TV and actually play some stuff. I don't even know what to go and get. I'm just going to do this. $10, I'm going to have access to all this stuff. And if I like something, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's one of those things that as long as it's there, it kind of offers the same opportunities as PlayStation Now does, where it's like, well, I don't want to pay every month. I just want to download this game and rent this game for now and stream this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I definitely think it's interesting. And I think if it does well, we'll either see a price jump mm-hmm. or we may see them rotate out a larger library of games. You know what I mean? At any given time. So,
the only time is going to tell.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. All right, gentlemen, I say we wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Because we got things to do. But I want to thank everybody for listening. Please do me a favor and chime in and let us know what you think about this and what you think about the show as a whole or in general. Make sure you hit us up at loadingsnacks@gmail.com. You can send us an email there if you have show ideas or just things you want to hear us talk about or you want our input on. By all means, you can do that there. Feel free to contact us or follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, what have you, by, just typing in @loadingsnacks and hitting that little button usually with a plus. You just hit that, and then you in there. And make sure you remember to check us out each and every Tuesday night on ripradio.network.com. We have a full half an hour show that runs at 10 p.m. from 10 p.m. to 10:30 every Tuesday night. So tune in to ripradio.network.com to see that show. And then remember to shoot over to our YouTube. Just search Loading Snacks, you can go to youtube.com/Loading Snacks Crew. But if you search Loading Snacks, you'll absolutely find us. You can kind of catch us doing some antics. You'll catch parts of that same show. We do things like taste tests. What'd you bring us that was nasty this week? Beer and brats, potato chips.
I thought it was a Peeps Oreos. I thought that was worse than the beer and brats.
They were. The Peeps Oreos were definitely worse than the brats. So, yeah. So, if you just, if you want to kind of get to know us outside of what you hear, hearing our voices, I know y'all want to see what we look like. I know you do. I know you want to know what we look like. Yeah, by all means, check us out there. Having said that, feel free to hit me up, gage.loadingsnacks@gmail.com. You can follow me on the socials @emptyshells, MTSHELLZ. Make sure you follow Loading Snacks on Facebook as well.
Absolutely.
Tell the folks how they can get a hold of you.
Look, Sincere619 on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Xbox Live. If y'all want to catch up with me on PlayStation Network and run something, it's the exact same thing. Just replace that I with an L, and you'll find me there. Jokes?
Dig it.
Yes, sir. So make it easy for you. If you want to get me on the game systems, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, or on Instagram and Twitter, it's New Joker 89. Facebook, you can find me at New Joker's Adventures. And just remember, that's NUJOKER 89.
Yeah, it is. Don't do it wrong. If you follow like NEW, I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that dude is.
I kind of need to look that up myself.
We don't know who that is.
This dude in my who this dude in my DMs trying to slide in? That's what they get. Yeah, we don't need that. Nah.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Nah, not at all.
All right, gentlemen, let's wrap it up. With that, we're out. Toodles and lose.